Okay, this is part 5 of strategic thinking, where we're working through different principles of being a strategic thinker. We've talked about being outcomes focused, understanding the context of your situation. We just talked about considering the capabilities of your people, process, technology, and structure. And now we're going to talk about, in general, asking questions as a fourth principle of strategic thinking. And actually, everything we've done up until this point relates to asking questions. If you want to be a good leader, if you want to be a strategic leader, one of the keys is asking good questions. Questions are so powerful. We need to all be thinking about what kind of questions can we be asking. They're going to help us to continue to move forward. Being outcomes focused is about asking the right questions. Understanding the context of your situation is about asking good questions, and knowing your capabilities and where you can develop them is about asking good questions. So I'm just going to throw out here and suggest a few more good questions that you might want to be asking as a strategic leader. There are obviously lots of questions that you can ask. So these are just some ideas and suggestions to get your ideas going. But in general, as a strategic thinker, we're wanting to be thinking about how can we help this ministry to improve? How can we make it more likely to be successful in achieving our vision? What kind of questions can we ask? So an example, what are the most important things we do to achieve our purpose? What are the most important things we do? When you think about it, we want to be doing the things that are most impactful, not the things that have a minimal impact. We want to be doing and focusing on things that have the greatest impact. So what are the most important things we do? Good to know that, right? And make sure we continue to do those things that are the most important. Another question is everything we're doing necessary? You'll actually find that in most cases, there are going to be a few things that you do as a ministry, as a team, that probably aren't that necessary, or maybe not necessary at all. So why do we do them? Who knows? Because we've always done them, because we've always done things that way. It's good to question things every now and then and ask, is it really necessary that we do this? And if the answer is no, then maybe you don't need to do it anymore. Don't waste your time on it, right? But if there is benefit, and a significant benefit, keep doing it. Another question is everything we're doing sufficient to accomplish our goals? Now, the combination of these two questions together, I love. It's what I call the necessary and sufficient question, because at the end of the day, as a strategic leader, I want to make sure that we're doing everything that is necessary and that is sufficient to achieve our end outcomes. If you're not doing everything necessary and sufficient to achieve your end outcomes, you're not likely to achieve them. So these are two key questions. What is absolutely necessary for us to be successful? What do we need to be doing? And what is enough? What is sufficient? How do we know that it's enough, right? With God's help. So the necessary and sufficient question is huge. Is everything we're doing sufficient? Are we doing enough to accomplish our goals? Which really leads into the next question, which is, what areas are we missing in our strategy? What else? What else do we need to be doing? If we're not doing quite enough, what else do we need to be doing? Right? The next question relates to the STOP analysis we just did. What key capabilities are we lacking to achieve our end outcomes? It's a simpler way of asking the STOP analysis, but what are we lacking? What capabilities are we lacking to achieve our end outcomes? Second to last question here is there anything we do that is ineffective at helping us to achieve our purpose? So this implies that we're wanting to improve the way we do things. If it's not quite effective, what can we do to improve it and make it more effective? So is there anything we can do that's ineffective? And lastly, just in general, hey, what should we be doing differently? So again, these are just examples of questions. There's many, many more you can ask, but you get the idea. How can we be more strategic, and how can we ask better questions to allow us to be more strategic? So one last thing is, who should we be asking these questions to? Now, obviously, you can be asking yourself these questions, and you're going to know some of the answers to them. But even more importantly, who else are you going to ask these questions to? Obviously, you can ask God any of these questions. Absolutely, you should be asking your team members these questions. And if there are those around you who have ever done something similar, who have wisdom and experience in the same area that you're working in, ask those people some of these questions. And in some cases, you can even ask your target audience questions and learn from them. But the key is, as leaders, we do not know everything. So just asking ourselves these questions is not sufficient. It's not enough. We need to ask other people for their input and ideas and suggestions as well. So what kind of questions do you need to be asking?